Well, 2022 is officially over, which means time to discuss my top 10 roller coasters. If you've been following my channel for a while, I started posting my top 25, then was my top 20, and now, well, let's just say I have a hard time deciding what my top 10 roller coasters are. The fact that some keep track of their entire roller coaster ranking is just mind-boggling. Airtime thrills, you always impress me with your coaster ranking. That's something I'm just not built to do. As of this recording, I have a total of 302 roller coaster credits. 2022 wasn't really a big year in terms of new credits. I believe I added a total of 16 new roller coasters. Most of the year was just revisiting parks I haven't been to in quite a while, or hitting up the favorites like I like to do every year. The biggest new park for me was Silver Dollar City, which, spoiler alert, will make an appearance in my ranking today. The more roller coasters you ride, a good chunk of them just start to blend together. There will be the standouts, which is more or less the ones that I want to focus on in this video, but deciding where Looping Steel Roller Coaster 1 ranks against Wooden Coaster 2, yeah, it can be a challenging endeavor. Before we get to my ranking, please do me a favor by clicking on that like button, especially if you like roller coasters as I do. And if you are new to my channel, subscribe, that way you won't miss out on future content. Number 10, Pantheon, located at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, manufactured by Intimate Amusement Rides, opened in 2022. For those who follow the rumor mill inside the coaster community, we knew about a possible multi-launching roller coaster coming to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg back in 2018. Once the plan became a reality with its official launch in 2019, the hype train started to pull out of the station. With its original opening year supposed to be 2020, the ride was delayed because of the pandemic. Pantheon held out for 2 seasons, opening in spring of 2022. My first rides on Pantheon was during a cold day in the month of March. In fact, it was so cold that weekend that the following day during that visit, it was snowing in the park. Me and Austin were basically the only 2 people crazy enough to be at Busch Gardens that day. Okay, enough with this rabbit hole and back to Pantheon. Yes, it was a cold day, meaning that the second half of the ride wasn't running as fast as I thought it should be, but it really didn't matter. The ride was still super fun, full of exciting and surprising elements. The swing launch is truly the best part of the ride. Experiencing insane ejector airtime while going in reverse is something you just have to experience. The Outer Bank turn after that top hat was a letdown of sorts, but not enough to derail this incredible coaster. That zero-G stall after the Outer Bank turn makes up for any lacking the other elements might have. Number 9, Iron Gwazi, located at Busch Gardens, Tampa, manufactured by Rocky Mountain Construction, opened in 2022. Iron Gwazi shared the same fate as Pantheon, being a 2020 roller coaster that was delayed until 2022. Also, this was another roller coaster that had rumors flying around as far as 2016. Once the original wooden coaster Gwazi closed for good in 2015, everyone just started to speculate that Rocky Mountain Construction would swoop in and save the day. Coming off the heels of Steel Vengeance, Iron Gwazi was out to break records, including the tallest, fastest, and steepest hyper-hybrid roller coaster. The first thing that comes to mind when talking Iron Gwazi is its incredible pacing. Iron Gwazi never loses a beat. Once you crest that 206-foot first drop, everything is taken at breakneck speeds. Unlike Steel Vengeance, which has a couple more moments of drawn-out airtime, Iron Gwazi is more about those aggressive pops of ejector. The death roll and wave turn are my 2 favorite moments on this coaster. Iron Gwazi may not be my favorite RMC coaster, but what you have here is a great roller coaster that I believe will prove the test of time. Meaning, don't be surprised if you see this roller coaster climb in ranks as I get more rides on it in the future. Number 8, Orion, located at Kings Island, manufactured by Bolliger & Mabillard, opened in 2020. This Giga Coaster has been slowly climbing my ranks. Last year, Orion was ranked 11th in my top 25 coasters. Well, this year I was able to score a few more rides on Orion, and I thought it was running better than ever. Orion is the roller coaster that solidified me as a B&M fanboy. The biggest downside to this coaster would be its shorter ride time, but yeah, it's loaded with great elements. The first drop is so much fun. I just love the airtime, especially in the back row. That wave turn, though not the best maneuver, is still fun and vertigo-inducing as you are looking to your side about 200 feet off the ground. The Speed Hill and Giant Airtime Hill are two great moments of airtime, and we can't forget about that crazy banked airtime hill prior to the brake run. This final hill is my favorite moment of the ride. Orion is loaded with great elements, and being B&M, you know the operations are going to be on point. The one thing about B&M coasters is they tend to be reliable, predictable, but fun coasters. Number 7, Twisted Timbers, located at King's Dominion, manufactured by Rocky Mountain Construction, opened in 2018. I know, somehow Twisted Timbers is being ranked higher than Iron Gwazi. Well, in 2022 I got a few rides on Twisted Timbers and I thought it was running better than ever. Similar to most RMCs, these rides need to warm up, so your best rides are going to be later in the afternoon or evening on a hot summer day. The increase of speed from the morning to the afternoon was very noticeable. It felt like Twisted Timbers was an out-of-control roller coaster experience. Every airtime hill was hitting hard. Those inversions were super snappy. Basically every transition was super fun and snappy. I remember last year in 2021, the end of the ride felt like the coaster lost steam and was barely making it to the brake run. This previous year, 2022, you are full steam ahead, slamming into the brake run with some gas still left in the tank. The elements found on Twisted Timbers are pretty typical of RMCs, but the pacing and speed make this one of the best. If you love airtime, then Twisted Timbers is a must-ride roller coaster. Number 6, Mako, located at SeaWorld Orlando, manufactured by B&M, opened in 2016. Mako is moving from last year of 4th place now to 6th. Regardless, this hypercoaster still holds up as the best of the bunch. If you enjoy sustained moments of ejector and/or floater airtime, then Mako is your coaster. From the first drop through the mid-course brake run, Mako is full of incredible airtime moments. Similar to what I said about Orion, Mako is built by B&M, meaning it's more of a predictable coaster, but it's a reliable one too. Operations are also on fire here at SeaWorld Orlando, meaning you should be able to snag multiple rides on Mako pretty much any given day. Once the park opens, I usually head straight to Mako, and there's usually not a line, meaning I can snag multiple rides in a row without getting off the train or even that rare Zen ride, meaning you're the only one on the train. Comparing Mako from 2021 to 2022, I thought it was running faster this previous year. The airtime moments were more forceful and the trims weren't hitting as hard. The only downside to Mako is that final portion of the ride. After the mid-course brake run, it's just a couple of bank turns that send you down by the water, then up onto the brake run. Number 5, Maverick, located at Cedar Point, manufactured by Intamin Amusement Rides, opened in 2007. Because Maverick had that issue with the Heartline roll, its opening day was delayed by about a month, meaning I missed out on this coaster's opening year and I had to wait until 2012. But anyway, since my first ride, Maverick has been pretty steady, finding a place in my top 10. Last year, Maverick was ranked down at number 2, and now it's just cracking into my top 5. For a roller coaster that is now 15 years old, crazy I know, but yet still holds up quite well. The pacing on Maverick is top-notch. The ride is always throwing something at you. Either it's low-to-the-ground turns, ejector airtime, inversions, or near inversions with those steep, overbanked turns. The launch through the tunnel is another great moment, especially by ending that launch with a snappy turn to the left. Most roller coasters will shoot you into a top hat or an inversion after a launch, but Maverick breaks the mold by keeping the train closer to the ground, allowing you to experience that speed for a majority of the ride. Depending on the weather and the time of season, I might put Maverick ahead of Steel Vengeance, but this year's Steel Vengeance was running pretty good, which leads us to our next coaster. Number 4, Steel Vengeance, located at Cedar Point, manufactured by RMC, opened in 2018. I wish I could teleport back to 2018 just before Steel Vengeance opened for the first time. The hype train for this coaster was in full swing. The ride was literally sucking all the life out of any other attraction opening that year. All eyes were on Cedar Point. Not only did Steel Vengeance exceed our expectations, but became everyone's new #1 roller coaster. Of course, there were the outliers, but by and large, if you rode Steel Vengeance in 2018, chances are you called it your new #1. Even to this date, Steel Vengeance holds the title as the roller coaster with the most airtime, which is a pretty impressive title. Steel Vengeance has over 25 seconds of solid airtime. The biggest downside to Steel Vengeance, it feels pretty repetitive with all the airtime hills, but there's still plenty of variety if you include the inversions, outer bank turn, and the cool interactions with the giant wooden structure. Now that I've gone on more roller coasters since Steel Vengeance, the ride is starting to settle in, falling slightly in rank. It was my number 1 for a couple years, then last year I had it down at number 3. Dropping 1 point isn't too shabby, especially now that the competition is starting to heat up. Number 3, Fury 325, located at Carowinds, manufactured by B&M, opened in 2015. Well, I had the Fury fever for about 1 year. It was a good run, but Fury 325 has fallen from 1st down to 3rd place. Being in 3rd place is not too shabby though. Honestly, these coasters in my top 5 could change in ranking. It all comes down to the various aspects of the day that can affect your ride experience. Fury 325 is currently the tallest and fastest Giga coaster on the planet, and yes, I'm not including Red Forest in that list. For those who love speed, Fury 325 is the coaster for you. The first half of the ride is about staying lower to the ground, performing overbank turns at high speeds. Of course, there are some airtime moments mixed in. The first drop is phenomenal, regardless if you are in the back or front rows. My favorite element has to be the treble clef. This turnaround maneuver finds a way to deliver ejector airtime and laterals while diving down into a tunnel. The giant helix is a weak point of the ride, but Fury 325 picks it back up by ending with a couple airtime hills before entering the brakes. Number 2, Time Traveler, located at Silver Dollar City, manufactured by Mach Rides, opened in 2018. I did tease at the beginning of this video that a roller coaster from Silver Dollar City would make the list. Well, not only did Time Traveler make my top 10 coasters, but managed to find its way all the way down at number 2. This is a roller coaster that only gets better with each ride. My first time on Time Traveler, I thought it was fun, but not worthy of my top 10 list. Well, after a couple more rides on that day, I realized that Silver Dollar City had something special with Time Traveler. That drop out of the station is one of the best moments of airtime I've ever experienced. Just listen to me try and hold in my laughter in this POV. Like all Mach coasters, the launch aren't anything exciting, but that really is the least important aspect of Time Traveler. The real MVP are the spinning trains. I never thought we'd see a day when spinning coasters and inversions would be a thing, but leave it to Mach Rides in an attempt the impossible. Because the cars are slowly spinning, means that every ride can be different from the last. You could be traveling through an element forwards during your first ride, but on your second and third, maybe you're facing backwards, sideways, or just spinning through the maneuver. It all creates a different sensation that you need to ride for yourself. Alright, before we get to my favorite roller coaster, let me throw out a few good honorable mentions. Number 1, Velocicoaster, located at Universal Studios Islands of Adventure, manufactured by Intamin Amusement Rides, opened in 2021. For those who watched a couple of my recent videos, Velocicoaster at my number 1 slot is probably not a surprise. It only took one ride on this Jurassic World-themed attraction to realize that Universal had something amazing. If Maverick was the breakthrough attraction for its time, then Velocicoaster is like the 2.0 version for today. This roller coaster has it all. The theming is spot on, even the queue is enjoyable. I loved how the outside portion of the queue, you can get up and close with the Mosasaurus roll. With their locker system being located in the queue, I was able to take my camera gear with me in line and shoot video while I wait. Velocicoaster has the best operations for an Intamin roller coaster by far. I know that their roller coasters are known to have lots of downtime, which Velocicoaster isn't immune from downtime, but its fast loading and unloading process allows them to send a train about every 50 seconds. And during my 3-day stay at Universal Studios, this was pretty much the trend. It was pretty tried and true that every 50 seconds you'd see a train clearing that top hat. The launches are forceful, the inversions are fun. I enjoyed every element on this roller coaster. In my eyes, there's not one single moment of lackluster to be found on Velocicoaster. That top hat, I was expecting some airtime, but wow, did it exceed my expectations. If you are in the back row, that top hat will send you flying out of your seat. The Mosasaurus roll is another top-notch element. Upside down airtime is the only way I can describe that inversion. Well, that's going to do it for my top 10 roller coasters 2022 edition. Did any of my picks take you by surprise? What are your top 10 coasters? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching. Till next time, this is X Screen Thrills.